To another video on the Geekanoids channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you this monitor here. This is from AOC Gaming. It's one of their gaming range of monitors that offers 144Hz refresh rate, and this is a 31.5 inch monitor as well, so it's a really beast of a monitor with some amazing features. Now I'm going to be running through the various specifications, the connections, and also giving you my opinion on this monitor and showing you some images actually displayed on the display as well. So without further ado, let me go over to the AOC website and run through the main specifications, and then we'll come back and take a closer look. So the first thing you're going to notice on the AOC website is that this model number is the AG322QCX, and it's a 31.5 inch curved gaming monitor, so it's got a slight curve to it. It's got a 16:9 aspect ratio, and the curve is nice and subtle as well. It's an 1800mm curvature radius. Now if we scroll down a little bit, we can see some of the other specifications, and this is really difficult to show you within a video because the 144Hz refresh rate, which is really important if you're into your gaming, is extremely difficult to show you in any video that's broadcast on YouTube. But this gives you a rough idea of what you're going to experience, which is much clearer, much crisper graphics, much better responsiveness, which is really important to pro players. So if you're really into your gaming, this is a very, very important feature. We've also got a QHD resolution, so across the 31.5 inches we've got a 2560 by 1440 resolution, and this is a called QHD display, 16:9 aspect ratio. And then we've also got adaptive sync. So AMD Freesync technology. It says here whether you're dashing through explosions or screeching around rain-slicked bends, wave goodbye to screen tearing and lag. So this 144Hz refresh rate comes in at certain times when you're playing games. When you're using a normal sort of desktop solution, you won't need the 144Hz, but certainly with gaming it's going to deliver such a good experience. We've also got shadow control. This brings out the shadows in the darker areas and just makes things look a little bit more detailed. And again, we can have a sort of an on-screen simulation of what this will actually do to your graphics that you're viewing back on the monitor. We've also got flicker-free technology, which uses direct current backlight panels in their monitors, which reduces flickering levels. This is really noticeable actually, especially when you're showing a monitor in this sort of scenario. So when I switch back to showing you exactly what this looks like, you'll see that it is indeed flicker free. The main specifications here is that this does also have speakers in the monitor. I'll talk to you about those in a short while. It's a curved screen, features a low blue light, that FreeSync technology, 144Hz refresh rate. It's also height adjustable and tiltable and rotatable as well. And the response time, again a very important factor for gamers, is that it's 4 milliseconds response time. If we take a look further into the specifications, I just want to cover off the inputs. So we've got two DisplayPort inputs here. Both of them are DisplayPort version 1.2. We've also got USB. We've got two HDMI ports, both of them are version 2 as well. There's also a VGA input and some USB out ports. Now there is a mini USB connector on here as well, and that's connected to this external sort of control box. This allows you to go into the menu on the monitor, and I'll show you that in action very, very shortly. Just very quickly, I'm just going to wake this monitor back up again and pop my password in. And I want to show you some images actually displayed on the monitor itself. So here you can see the main sort of desktop showing. This is currently connected to my iMac, which is just behind me here. And I want to show you a few photos that I've actually taken myself. So this one here, I've shown you this in previous monitor reviews, and it's a really good point for me to judge how good a display is. The off-axis viewing angles are very, very good indeed. When you go off axis and view at quite acute angles, and this is actually quoted as having 178 degree viewing angles, it just looks really good. There's no colour shift unless you go really acutely off angle, and who's going to do that? Nobody's going to go sort of to those extreme angles, but really good viewing experience. The sort of details down here in this quite dark area on the photo, really nicely detailed, and we've got very, very good colour representation across this photo. This is really true to how I would have expected to have seen this with the naked eye, and indeed how I remember it when I actually took the photo. Moving on, I'll show you this one here. This really shows how it maintains sort of detail in the darker areas. This, as you can obviously see, is a sunset photo that I've taken, and we've got really good detail down here in the shadow areas, really good tonality to the sky as well. Really nice experience again viewing that back. And then something with a bit more colour in it. This is again one of my own personal photos, and really true to the real colours that you'd expect to see with the naked eye. So very, very colour accurate. Now you're not going to be able to see this very clearly on your screen, but this is the little control for the menus. You've got a little joystick underneath here that you can control the inputs, etc. from. But if we tap the menu button on here, we get the on-screen display come up across the bottom, and we really can control pretty much everything on this display. We've got, that's just disappeared, let's go back into it again. We have got contrast, brightness, eco mode. We've also got gamma and DCR control, and then if we go back across and then up, we can go across to color setup here as well, and we've got color temperature, DCB modes. We've also got separate controls for red, green and blue, so we can control all of those separately. We've even got picture boost functions. We've also got set up for actually controlling how this display looks, like where it's positioned. We've also got game settings, which are specific to if you're using this for gaming. And we've also got the last one, this extra, which is the input select, which is currently set to auto, but you can set it to have a default input. We've also got an off timer for turning the monitor off. Let's just get that display back up. We've got an off timer, we've got reset, and also the current setting, telling you the horizontal and vertical frequency and the current resolution that it's displaying. So this is really good because you can position this nice and suitably, or nice and accessible next to your keyboard. So for example, on this setup, I might have it sort of set just here on the desk, so it's very easy to access. Just a really nice menu system, one of the best menu systems I've seen on a monitor for a long time. Now I've already talked to you about the actual video quality. The next thing is sort of something that's important to mention, but also if you are into your gaming, something that probably isn't that important to you. And that's because my idea behind if this is going to be in a gaming setup is you'd have external speakers. But more often than not, when you're looking at a monitor, it has absolutely terrible built-in speakers. And for once, this is not the case. This monitor from AOC or AOC has a very, very good set of speakers in here with a 5-watt output. Some of the loudest speakers I've ever heard in a monitor, and some of the clearest I've ever heard. They go nice and low with nice low frequencies and a really nice amount of detail in the audio. So if you were looking for that really clean setup and you didn't want to sort of have external speakers on your desk, then this is well worth considering. Purely because not every desk has space for speakers. It is just a really very, very good performer. So anyway, before I move on to just giving you my final opinion about this particular screen, let's take a look inside the chat. We've got Chris in the chat, S Baggins, Darren Gator, Sean, JTech, and Chris is saying looks like there are a lot of flexibility with colour profiles as well. There is a lot of flexibility in this particular monitor. This is a really good choice. Let me just go back into the tech specs for you again, just to highlight some of the really good features of this. The 4-millisecond response time is absolutely amazing. It really is. The actual panel type on this also came up as a question, I think. I think somebody was asking, I think it was Sean, is the panel type MVA? Yes, it is. It is an MVA panel on this particular monitor. Something else also to note is there are lights on the underside, and you can configure these as well. There are also lights on the back which you can configure. It's also height adjustable, so we can go up to a really nice height, and it's a very sturdy stand. And of course we can tilt the monitor as well to get that perfect sort of alignment. Maybe you're doing a multi-screen setup, or you can actually rotate it. I haven't actually got room to rotate it too much, but we can rotate the display as well, and there's a lot of adjustability on that rotation. The actual stand obviously comes separate in the box, but it's a very weighty stand, really well made. And to actually attach this to the back are 4 screws, so it's taking some real weight of the monitor and giving you a very sturdy setup. So if there are any more questions, let's take a look. Darren's saying, sounds like an excellent monitor for video editing as well, and that's a really good point that Darren's brought up there. Although this is marketed as a gaming monitor, it's not essential to use it as gaming. I've been so impressed with this that if I had this as a multi-screen setup, so this is my Mac Pro monitor here in front of me, and this was my secondary display, it fits very nicely into it because it's so colour accurate. I've got this particular display sitting off to the left hand side of me, calibrated, so this is really colour accurate. I could do the same to this. This particular one is a 38-inch widescreen monitor, and then this 31.5-inch 16:9 format is almost the same height. If I put it down to level with my current display, sort of lining up these bottom sections, it's only a little bit higher. And I think that would work really nicely in a 2-screen setup with the ultra wide and then this secondary monitor. So it could very easily be used in a dual screen setup, and it would still be a really good match for another format monitor. And it would be good for video editing, I've got no doubt about that at all, and for photo editing, really accurate colours. Stephen Beat is asking, can the monitor be detached from its stand and a bracket mounted? I do not see any problem doing that at all. As I say, there's 4 screws located on the back, and it looked like a standard Visa mount spacing, so I think you could take that off and wall mount this without any issue at all. The actual panel by itself, because obviously I had to manhandle this into place and actually get it sort of on the desk here, this actual panel when it's off of the stand is not that heavy. It's very manageable, so if you're thinking of wall mounting it or putting it on a separate arm, I don't think you'd have any problems at all. It's the stand, this really sturdy stand, that adds to the weight of it. Chris Bryson says, I looked at it on Amazon. Is that a headset holder that's attached to the rear also? There is one. Which side is it on? I think it's on this side, so it's going to be out of view. There is a little headset sort of hook that comes out the side, so you can actually hang something on the side of the monitor. A really nice addition to it. When I first saw that, I thought it was like a Wi-Fi antenna, but it is in fact just a little hook, so you can hang something on the side if you need to. Darren Gator says, okay Dave, I'm sold. Can you just send it to me when you get a chance? Unfortunately I can't. It's far too heavy to fit in and far too big to fit into those small little boxes that I send out via the postal system. Otherwise, of course, I would. It just wouldn't fit through the letterbox. It really wouldn't. So unfortunately, on this occasion, I can't, but I can recommend it. It's been a really nice experience using this so far. As I said before, the actual colour accuracy is what sold it to me. But if you're interested in it for gaming, that 144Hz refresh rate is a real big selling point, and it looks absolutely superb. I love this sort of colour accent down at the bottom as well. And the menu system, I must just emphasise the menu system. Sometimes you get monitors where the menu system is terrible to navigate. This is one of the best menu systems that I've experienced as well. And having this little sort of breakout box that plugs in via mini USB to control everything is genius. I wish so many more did that, because when you're using a little joystick, I've got a joystick on this monitor over here, it's okay, but sometimes you can get confused over which way you've got to push it. This is just so well done, really very well done. So this is the AOC AG322QCX 144Hz Freesync gaming monitor. I've left a link to the AOC website and also a link to where you can pick up this for yourself. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.